So hello, everyone. My name is Tim Deep. I'm the Customer Success Manager for DCKAP. We're excited to have you guys all here. So just want to do a quick thank you to our sponsors. We have BigCommerce, we have Nexus, APS Payments, Avalara, Gorgeous.digital, and Content for Commerce. So, and the DCKAP, we're the host for everything. So next, I'd like to bring up Jordan Carpenter. He's a Strategic Alliance Manager at Avalara. And a little bit about Jordan is he spent the last 3 years with Avalara working with their partners to ensure they have a solid understanding of sales tax and how the ever-changing rules impact the merchants they work with. He is passionate about the space and admits it himself. He's a bit of a sales tax nerd. So Jordan, go ahead, take it away.
Well, yeah, thanks again, guys. Hope everyone is enjoying the summit so far. For those of you that are not familiar with Avalara, we are an end-to-end sales tax, or I should say tax compliance solution. We plug into a number of different e-commerce platforms as well as e-commerce platforms, BigCommerce being one of them, Magento being one of them, Epicor being one of them. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about the current tax landscape, as well as some of the relief offerings / packages that are being offered at both a federal and state level, given the COVID situation. So let's jump into what the feds are currently offering. So as many of you are aware, we moved back tax day from April 15th to July 15th. So, excuse me, anyone that has not currently filed their income taxes, they are allowed to delay that until July 15th. Large majority of states jumped on board with that as well. So you're able to delay that state income tax payment. And then also, as many of you know, they approved the stimulus package, and I believe it was last week or the week before, started releasing those stimulus checks for individuals that met a certain criteria. As I mentioned, a number of states jumped on board as well, both when it came to income tax as well as sales tax. So a lot of states looked at relieving the penalties and interest associated with sales tax filings. So you can see Alabama there, they're waiving late penalties. However, you do still have to file on a regular basis. California has a more tiered approach. So they are looking at businesses with less than $5 million in taxable annual sales. You can defer up to $50,000. And then as you can see down there, small businesses filing a return for less than $1 million actually have until the end of July to file. Now, Illinois has taken a slightly different approach, and they are more focused on the food and beverage industry and offering relief in that specific vertical. Chicago, very similar. For those of you not familiar with tax within the state of Illinois, Chicago has its own unique tax across the board. They've got a bottle tax. I don't believe it's listed there. I think they have a sugar tax as well, a tax on bags. The list goes on, and they've actually extended and pushed that back just to help those merchants add a little bit of extra cash there to their pockets during this time of need. So we're a little late to the game when it comes to New York, but did want to at least show that they did offer some relief there. South Carolina also decided to push back tax returns and payments. So as you can see, you've got, if you're doing any business in South Carolina, you have until June to file those returns. And then with Charleston being a hospitality and tourism hub, they've now suspended a collection of hospitality tax indefinitely. So I think they've extended it past that 90 days. And then DC, a lot of folks obviously traveling to DC for both pleasure and work. They've also offered some relief up when it comes to accommodation and lodging tax. So a lot of folks jumping on board, just trying to do their part and help out those local merchants where they can. So I know a lot of us are in the Ohio area. We were all meant to be in Cleveland today. So unfortunately, Ohio has not offered any relief as of yet. But as you'll see in a couple of slides, we've got some some links where you can follow up on that and see as those relief options change. Vail, jumping on board with Charleston and DC, being a tourism hub, they've actually suspended sales tax completely across the board. So right, a lot of those merchants rely on folks visiting Vail and spending that money. Therefore, they've decided to completely waive that for the locals that are there. And then one of the more interesting ones is, it comes to New Jersey and Pennsylvania. So both of those are what we consider commuter states, right? So a lot of folks are traveling from those states into New York City to work. So traditionally, if a company was based in New York City and had an employee in one of those states, it would create what is called Nexus, or the requirement to register and in turn collect, file, and remit sales tax. But those two states realize with stay-at-home orders that they're going to have a number of folks that are probably based in New York City that are having to work from their homes, and so therefore they are waiving those Nexus requirements and thresholds. DC and Mississippi jumped on that as well. A little bit different rulings than New Jersey and Pennsylvania, but they are still realizing that, hey, we have a lot of commuters. We have folks that are working remotely in our state, so they're offering some relief when it comes to those Nexus requirements. And then not just general sales tax, but more specific to the current COVID situation and manufacturers changing what they're manufacturing and offering both sanitizer, hand sanitizer specifically, and PPEs. You can see here both Puerto Rico and Indiana are waiving some tax as it's related to PPEs. And then on a federal level, where they would traditionally charge an excise tax on the alcohol within hand sanitizer, right, the excise tax in order to manufacture that, they're actually waiving that for the time being. So again, just trying to encourage the manufacturers that are jumping on board to help produce these items, just helping alleviate a little bit of tax when it comes to that. So as I mentioned earlier, we do have a number of links on the Avalara website where you can stay updated on these relief packages. States are continuing to alter those and release new ones. So Tim, I believe we're going to send this slide deck out. At minimum, we're going to send some links out that are related to this, so you guys will be able to follow up and check on those relief packages. One big thing I want to point out as well, and both Joel and Jason hit on this, and the growth of e-commerce and the shift for a lot of merchants that maybe weren't traditionally selling online. Something to be careful of and conscious of is economic nexus as a whole. So about a year and a half ago now, there was a big ruling that came out. It was South Dakota v. Wayfair, for those that aren't familiar with it. And it allowed states to set thresholds. So if an out-of-state merchant hit those certain thresholds, typically around $200,000 in sales revenue or 200 transactions, it would require that out-of-state merchant to register in that state and in turn start collecting tax. So definitely something to stay on top of. Again, if you're a merchant that is either increasing your e-commerce sales or jumping into that space. We've got some great content on our website to monitor that, as well as the Sales Tax Institute is a great resource for those thresholds as well. So with that additional nexus comes audit considerations. So definitely something to be careful of there. A number of states have gone to remote auditing. And I was actually, Sunday night was listening to a webinar that's centered around audit specifically and how some folks have started to be audited during this COVID epidemic. And there's a young lady on there. She is a tax accountant out of Texas. And she said one of her clients had already started receiving letters and they're actually moving forward with the audit despite everything going on. So again, something to stay on top of and educated there. Now, as many of you know, it's not just the U.S. that's being impacted by this, right? We're not just in our bubble, and we're not the only country that has COVID cases. So a number of other countries are offering some relief when it comes to VAT tax. For those of you that sell into other countries, again, we're going to send out some links here, great resources to check on the relief packages there. And then I'm sure, as many of you know, there are a number of funding options, payroll loan forgiveness, bridge loans, the list goes on, eligible to really businesses of all sizes. So, you know, again, these are some great links to check out, see if you guys are eligible and meet criteria for these loans. A number of merchants that I've spoken with mentioned that these are getting released fairly quickly. So again, something to jump on if that's something you guys need. Couple more links to check out if you guys want to screen grab that. Again, we're going to send it out. That avalara.com/COVID-19 is going to be a one-stop shop for a lot of these. Excuse me. So definitely something to bookmark there. And then, you know, last but not least, as I mentioned at the start of this presentation, Avalara does offer an end-to-end tax compliance solution. So for those of you that are jumping into e-commerce, you know, we can help out with that. We can help you determine nexus. We can help you with your product taxability, as well as rate determination. And then once you collect all of that sales tax, obviously you've got to get it back to the state and local governments. Despite a lot of these delays, eventually you're going to have to get that money back to them, and we help with the filing there. And I know a lot of folks have asked me recently if we're able to handle all those relief packages with the states and the pushback filing dates, and the answer to that is yes. And if you guys have any questions around our product offering or even tax in general, we have one of the breakout sessions, and we've got one of our tax consultants in there that is happy to address any of those questions. And then Tim actually already helped us out with this, but as he mentioned earlier in the summit, we are currently offering 3 months for free just to assist folks as they're jumping into the e-commerce space. So I know I threw a lot of tax information at you. There's a lot of changes going on, but hopefully that was informative. And if you guys have any questions, let me know.
Hey, Jordan. Yeah, there is one question from Alfred, and it's on the Q&A portion. So he's asking, do you anticipate continued federal and state tax assistance for businesses even after the quarantine ends? And what might that look like?
Yeah, so it's definitely, I mean, this is an assumption, but I think there personally will be some relief packages until the economy gets back to normal. Right, there's still going to be a little bit of a tail for a lot of businesses as we get out of this pandemic. And I foresee some continued relief when it comes to interest and penalties, as well as delaying of tax payments.
One more from Kathy. Catherine, so please. Are there any specific steps businesses should take or best practices in regards to the economic nexus?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the number one thing to do there is monitor your economic nexus thresholds. So again, every state is a little bit different there. Prime example, North Carolina, where I'm from, has an OR situation where it's $200,000 or 200 transactions. California is a $500,000 in sales level before you hit economic nexus. So I think the number one thing is to just track those thresholds. You can check out our website to pull all of that information. You can check out salestaxinstitute.com to pull that. maybe just create a spreadsheet and, review your sales on a regular basis and see where you're approaching those Nexus thresholds.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jordan. That was a great presentation. And,
yeah, thanks, Tim.